Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Treyarch just finished a dev call with YouTubers, giving them exclusive access to a bunch of new info about what's coming in Season 1 of Modern Warfare Zombies. So we're going to be talking today about Sigils, we're going to be talking today about how the Dark Aether Rift works, we're going to be talking about all of that sort of stuff, except for the fact that Treyarch didn't invite me to the call. Yeah, I can't believe this is still going on, dude. And a lot of the time, this sort of thing doesn't really bother me that much, but in this instance, there's no official source also sharing the info, so I have to wait for other YouTubers to share the info, and I'm just like, I don't get it, transparently. They also invited a bunch of people out to Sledgehammer last week to play Season 1 early. Wasn't invited. Don't get it. I'm fairly confident I've posted more zombies videos than any other YouTuber since this game's come out. Like, I've been posting 1 to 2 videos every single day since launch, and still, I'm just being salty. It's just awkward because I want to cover the news, but the news isn't going to be out until other YouTubers make their videos. It's frustrating. Anyway, there's a little bit that I've gleaned from Twitter, so we can at least cover that. So Geeky Pastimes has very kindly shared a bit of info here, starting with the fact that the Season 1 story mission that's part of Act 4 is not going to require you to have finished Act 3. And this is good news, and I suspect this is being done because of the fact that most players simply haven't got anywhere close to finishing Act 3. Like, the average player on their first time round going through those missions is probably going to take 15 to 20 hours maybe just to grind through to Act 3 completion. And a lot of players since launch have just been doing other things, haven't been doing the missions, or haven't put that much time into the game. So to give them access to Act 4 is really important because Act 4 is what gives you access to the rifts. And so it'd be really frustrating, especially for someone jumping in today, let's say, level 1, they haven't played the game at all yet, to have to grind through so much content to get to that cool thing that's the cool new feature in Season 1. So I am very much in favor of this decision. I think that making a standalone mission is really good. It also comes at the beginning of all of the missions in Act 4, so you'll then have other stuff to do after you've opened up the Dark Aether Rift, but you don't have to grind through absolutely all of those kind of individual bitty missions, collect 5 stims and get 100 cryo kills and all that stuff just to get the story content, which again is a change that I'm really in favor of because in Acts 1 to 3, I think it was actually really unfortunate that I had to chew through so much of those itty-bitty fetch quests in order to get the story stuff. And it meant, because those aren't replayable as well, the people that wanted to see those cutscenes as soon as possible and the people that wanted the story content as soon as possible ended up not being able to take their time with the rest of the content there as much as they would have liked, myself included. So 2 really positive changes to kick off here. So Driftor, he's also shared some zombies info from the call an hour ago. So Driftor has shared that the content that they're adding in Act 4 and just generally in Season 1 is supposed to set the bar for what we should expect for post-launch content going forward. Obviously, we haven't had a chance yet to really get an understanding of how much support we expect Modern Warfare Zombies to get now that the game is out, but this is meant to be the kind of rough level of stuff that we should be able to anticipate going forwards, seemingly. According, again, to Driftor, obviously he's done his best to cover the news here, but as is always going to be the case with this sort of thing, because there's no official blog post on this information, it's kind of Chinese whispers a little bit here. So, sorry. That's just the way they're marketing it. Driftor did also mention that they are reworking the Exfils because as it stands right now, they nerfed the Exfils. Nobody liked that. And Treyarch are aware of that. They're working on it. And in Season 1, the way it seems like it's going to work is there's just going to be more zombies again, which is really important. And they've made some other changes to increase server stability so that that's possible. So for example, there was a patch a few weeks ago where they reduced the number of zombies that spawn on top of buildings just so that there are fewer zombies overall on the map so that they can really focus on those ground spawns and spawns for Exfils. So there are going to be more zombie spawns at Exfils again, which is good news. And they're also reworking the final Exfil. It sounds like they're just going to put a load more zombie spawns in for that final Exfil because as it stands right now, there's like nothing going on there. Final Exfils are totally dead in my experience. They are very boring. Maybe you get a bunch of zombie spawns, maybe you don't. But either way, it just sort of feels a bit flat. And that's something they're going to work on. And they're also going to be trying to add more higher level enemies to those Exfils, not just the final Exfil, but just Exfils in general. So we can expect to see some mimics and manglers and stuff show up for them as well, which isn't the case currently. So that's also good news. Now, as I predicted, the sigils in Modern Warfare Zombies Season 1 are basically going to work the same way as Building 21 keycards. There are a handful of people that have talked about this on Twitter so far, but basically the way it worked in Building 21 is that you would do some kind of objective, some kind of contract, some kind of mission mission in order to get yourself a Building 21 keycard. That would then be a one-time use where you could load into Building 21, do your stuff there, and then you'd go back to the regular map and keep playing to get more keycards to get more spawns into Building 21. The same logic is being applied here to the high threat zone, so that's the tier 3 zone. You're going to have to do tier 3 contracts in order to get yourself these sigils, and when you use a sigil, that is what essentially is consumed to get you into the Dark Aether rifts in the first place, and you'll then have 30 minutes to do your objectives within the rift before you have to exfil. However, there is another layer to this, which is that there's not just a base level, single level rift, there's actually varying difficulty within the rifts. So to sort of chain things together here, if you do a tier 3 contract, you can get yourself a sigil. You can then go over to one of those gates, the gates that Drifter talked about in his video, the triangular things that we saw in the trailer. You go over to one of those, that's going to teleport you into the Dark Aether. Then you're going to have 30 minutes in the Dark Aether to do more objectives, more contracts, etc. But you could get an Elder Sigil from those contracts and from those objectives, and Elder Sigils mean that you can then load into the next version of the Dark Aether tier 2, if you will, like a hard mode of the Dark Aether, but that's only accessible if you have one of these Elder Sigils, which you can only get via that kind of nested daisy chain of objectives. So that's cool. I mean, so that's cool. Sounds like they're trying to really appeal to players that want a hard challenge in the mode. The fact that you have to get them from tier 3 in the first place already speaks to that, so that's positive. But there is admittedly one negative that does need to be called out here, I think, and this is an early stage negative. So let's definitely keep our expectations kind of in the middle for this, as opposed to instantly being like, oh, this is terrible, or oh, this is amazing. Let's be somewhat neutral for now, but aware of the potential for there to be downside here, which is that this really cool looking skin that we saw in a lot of the promo material for season 1. Yeah, this thing, it's got two kind of downsides to it. Number one is that it comes with a crystal, which you can use as an acquisition to get Pack-a-Punch on your weapon in zombies. And I think that in this instance, like, it's a single use. It's not too bad. It could have been a lot worse. It could be that anytime you're using that operator, you spawn in with a self-revive, or you spawn in with PAP tier 1 or something. That would have been crazy OP, crazy pay to win. As it stands, it's still pay to win, I think, because you are paying for an upgrade that is otherwise only earnable in the game. So I don't think it's right to say it's not pay to win as it stands right now. It's just that it's a very minor amount that actually benefits you. So it could be a lot worse. So that's good, weirdly, that it's not worse. But part of the problem here is that it's a paid skin. This is a paid operator skin. This is not a free skin. And so in the same way that we got Bone Collector at the end of Act 3, I was anticipating that at the end of Act 4, you would get some similarly cool skin. And when we saw this skin in the promo material, I thought, oh my god, they've made another really cool skin to incentivize people to jump into those rifts, to do those objectives. Hell, it could be a weapons case thing in the Dark Aether, or it could just be that at the end of Act 4, you get that skin. And so again, it's really motivating people to do that story content, to grind through those missions, etc., in order to get your unique zombies reward and to flex about your escapades into the Dark Aether. Like, that would be freaking awesome, but as it stands right now, you just have to pay for it. Now, the reason I said this is sort of neutral right now, the reason I'm not saying this is just straight up only negative, is that there is a chance that Season 1 drops and there is some alternative way to earn this skin, or there is some alternative skin that there is a way to earn. Either way, if that's the case, that would be positive, and so the instant negativity that this would bring, I think, is negated in a big way. But with the current information that we have, which again, I'm having to tell you secondhand because I apparently am just not looped in as being a primary source for this stuff from Treyarch and Activision, don't know why, I can only go off what other people have said. On that note, I am ending my streak of uploading a zombies video every single day since this game launched. I'm just feeling a bit tired, but I'll still be covering Season 1, don't you worry. Let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you then.